Hey everyone, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking the hidden internal battle you face when you try to quit that daily soda or caffeine habit. Look, we all know sugary drinks aren't exactly kale salads, right? But the actual biological tug of war happening inside your body when you try to walk away from them, it is literally mind-blowing. To really grasp the scale of this, we've got to start at the baseline. The average American is knocking back about 18 ounces of soda every single day. And yeah, in isolation, one drink doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you look at the cumulative toll it takes on the human body year after year, the numbers are absolutely staggering.
Think about the sheer volume of that daily habit over time. We're talking about packing on roughly 7,000 empty calories a year. That can easily translate to an extra 24 pounds of weight gain. And the impact on teenagers is even wilder. Researchers at the Harvard School of Public Health actually found that for every single additional sugary drink a teen has daily, their odds of becoming obese skyrocket by 60%. 60%!
Now, you've probably heard of that old trick where pouring Coca-Cola on a car battery dissolves the corrosion, right? Well, looking at the pH scale makes it painfully clear why that works. Battery acid sits at a highly corrosive pH of 1.0, regular soda comes in at a shockingly acidic 2.5, and diet soda isn't far behind at 3.2. Compare that to pure water at a nice, neutral 7.0. It doesn't take much to imagine what a pH of 2.5 is doing, just stripping away your tooth enamel day after day.
And it's not just the sugar and the acid, it's the chemical additives too. You might literally be drinking something called brominated vegetable oil, or BVO. Get this, BVO is initially patented as a flame retardant for plastics. Let that sink in. But in the beverage industry, it's used in some citrus soft drinks just to keep the flavoring from separating. The medical reality? Downing too much BVO is linked to very real side effects. We're talking headaches, memory loss, and severe fatigue.
Section 1. The anatomy of withdrawal, the physiological ordeal. So what happens when you finally decide enough is enough and you quit cold turkey to escape the sugar, acid, and chemicals? Well, your body fights back hard.
The crucial thing to understand here is how caffeine fundamentally rewires your brain. See, caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors. Those are the little guys that tell your brain, hey, I'm tired. Because they're blocked, your brain adapts by physically building extra adenosine receptors. So when you suddenly quit, boom, your brain gets flooded with a massive, unfiltered wave of sleepiness. Plus, the blood vessels in your head that caffeine was keeping constricted suddenly expand, accelerating blood flow and giving you an intense, throbbing headache.
And at the exact same time, you're dealing with the sudden absence of sugar. Taking away your daily sweet fix causes your dopamine levels to just completely crash. Sugar hits the exact same reward centers in our brains as certain powerful drugs. When you take it away, you enter this nasty physiological state a lot of people call the sugar flu. This sudden plunge in dopamine and serotonin brings on intense anxiety, unexplained irritability, and just a total lack of focus.
If you've ever felt this timeline totally validates your struggle. It proves that those headaches, the tremors, the nausea, they aren't just in your head. Well, they are, but it's a measurable physiological shock. The symptoms usually kick in within 12 to 24 hours of your last drink. They hit their absolute worst right around the 20 to 51-hour mark. And honestly, it can take anywhere from 2 to 9 long days for your brain chemistry to fully recalibrate and for you to feel normal again.
Section 2. The diet drink dilemma, the false solution. Right in the middle of that painful withdrawal, it is super common to desperately look for a lifeline. Enter the diet soda. Now, there is actually a little bit of good news initially. A massive 28-year study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health confirmed that artificially sweetened beverages can act as a helpful intermediate bridge. For folks drinking huge amounts of sugary sodas, stepping down to diet drinks did actually help them achieve modest long-term weight loss just by cutting out all those empty calories.
But here is the catch. Diet drinks are kind of a mirage. They are definitely not the final destination. Medical experts and dietitians are constantly warning that relying on them carries some pretty heavy risks. Artificial sweeteners can significantly alter your gut microbiome, which ramps up chronic inflammation. They can even trick your body into releasing insulin, potentially leading to insulin resistance down the line. The World Health Organization even specifically warns against using them long-term for weight control. But the biggest issue? They keep your brain's reward center totally hooked, leaving you trapped in this relentless cycle of intense sugar cravings.
To show you just how incredibly powerful those artificial cravings can be, check out this behavioral science study.
Researchers gave lab rats a choice between water sweetened with saccharin and intravenous cocaine. A staggering 94% of the rats chose the artificial sweetener. 94%. It just perfectly illustrates how tightly artificial sweetness can grip the brain's reward pathways.
Section 3. Water, the ultimate solution and the bottled trap. The obvious biological solution to break this entire dependency is plain old water. But of course, that introduces its own crazy financial trap.
There is a stark, undeniable contrast in what you're paying for when it comes to water. Good old municipal tap water costs a tiny fraction of a penny per gallon. We're talking about $0.002, and it's heavily and rigorously monitored for safety by the EPA. Bottled water? That is a massively expensive markup. It costs anywhere from 89 cents to over $8 a gallon, even though a lot of it is largely just packaged municipal water anyway.
And here is the really wild part. There's a shocking regulatory loophole for all that expensive bottled water. The FDA actually only regulates the 30 to 40% of bottled water that gets sold across state lines. That leaves the vast majority of it, up to 65%, including a ton of carbonated waters, completely exempt from those federal FDA safeguards.
Plus, the environmental cost of our bottled water habit is just mind-numbing. Ready for this? Americans are throwing away 1,500 plastic water bottles every single second. Every second. To meet that insane demand, the United States consumes up to 1.5 million barrels of oil annually just to manufacture the plastic bottles themselves. In fact, up to 90% of the cost of the product is quite literally just the packaging.
Section 4. Building better hydration habits. So, knowing the real dangers of regular soda, the biological trap of diet drinks, and the incredible waste of bottled water, how do we actually transition to a healthy tap water habit without losing our minds?
Well, we need an actionable, scientifically sound game plan. First rule, do not quit cold turkey. You've got to wean yourself gradually. Try mixing caffeinated and decaffeinated versions of your drinks to step down your dosage and dodge that severe sugar flu. Next, transition to unsweetened teas or seltzers. Keep the ritual, but drop the sugar. Finally, use ice-cold water to your advantage. Dietitians point out that very cold, sugar-free drinks naturally shock your system and really help satisfy those lingering food and sugar cravings throughout the day. Now, during those peak 51 hours of intense withdrawal, you can actively support your body. Medical experts suggest that taking a magnesium supplement can actually help regulate your blood sugar and significantly ease the intensity of those withdrawal headaches. Staying heavily hydrated is absolutely vital to flush the system. You also want to eat nutrient-dense whole grains and veggies. This keeps you full and stabilizes your crashing dopamine and blood sugar levels so you aren't as tempted to binge on sweets. And hey, don't be afraid to use some over-the-counter pain relievers to manage that initial blood vessel expansion in your head.
You really have to stick with it and prioritize pure hydration, because this is about so much more than just a weight loss tactic. Research actually shows that just a tiny 1 to 2% drop in your body's hydration levels can reduce your cognitive focus, your memory retention, and your decision-making abilities by up to 15%. Staying hydrated is the absolute key to protecting your cognitive function and avoiding those brutal afternoon energy crashes.
To make this new lifestyle stick for good, you've got to leverage the behavioral science of habit formation. It's all about establishing a cue, a routine, and a reward. Try using modern tracking tools or apps to create psychological cues through smart reminders. You build a simple routine by easily logging your daily intake. Then, you trigger your brain's reward center in a totally healthy way by building daily streaks. Leverage that gamification to stay motivated and engaged, all without a single drop of sugar.
So the crucial point I want to leave you with today is a direct challenge to look closely at your daily routines. The next time you reach for a drink, ask yourself, what is in your glass right now and what will it ultimately cost your body, your brain, and the environment tomorrow? Thanks so much for exploring the science of hydration with me in this explainer today.